I'm up here in Washington State because Nitto Tires graciously invited me and a group of other outdoor enthusiasts to come check out their new Nomad Grappler all-terrain tire. They designed this tire for owners of light SUVs and crossovers who like to get out into the backcountry, maybe make their way to a trailhead, or even go out and do some dispersed camping. To represent the kind of vehicles they had in mind, they provided us with some test vehicles fitted with the Nomad Grappler. We have a choice ranging from standard adventure issue Subarus and Rav-4s, as well as some Bronco Sports, and I chose to get behind the wheel of a new Ford Maverick FX4. They've also picked a trail that's supposed to accurately represent the kind of roads most of these vehicles could find themselves on in the course of a weekend outing, and maybe even push some of them to the edge of their comfort zone. And to keep it all going smoothly, they provided a qualified spotter to help us navigate the tricky bits, who also happens to be a professional off-road racing driver. So here's the rundown on some of the key features of these new tires. The tires feature treaded sidewall for extra grip and protection, but the real party trick is the fact that you get to choose from two different sidewall patterns. Pick the one you like more, and have the tire shop mount that side facing out on your wheel. The tire is also 3-peak snow rated for severe winter use, and it comes with an impressive 60,000 mile tread wear warranty. Now that's all nice to know, but how do they feel in real life? My first impressions are actually really good. The road surface we're driving on consists of mostly softball or larger sized rocks with some ruts and borderline boulders mixed in to keep you paying attention. I did find that I was spinning my wheels occasionally, but I put that down to the Maverick's very touchy throttle response and low down Eco Boost torque, which I later learned could be tamed by changing to the mud and ruts drive mode. It took us a while to get the dozen or so cars up the road single file, but it gave us an opportunity to stop and see how other vehicles were performing, and I can say the tires were doing quite well. Admittedly, yes, dry ruts and fist-sized rocks aren't the most challenging terrain, and I would very much like to see how they perform in other conditions like sand, a bit of mud, and especially for us up here in the Pacific Northwest, I'd love to see how they compare to other all-terrains I've used when driving in the snow. I was just getting used to the ruts and rocks we were navigating when the line came to a halt, and I soon found out why. We reached the point on the trail where they told us we were going to turn around and head back, which meant driving our humble little family cars up a short section of Riverbed, then up a steep bank and back onto the forest road. Not something I'd be particularly concerned about in a proper four-wheel drive with decent ground clearance, but for these soft roaders it meant time, spotting, and even a little rock stacking to successfully get us all through. And I'll admit, I'm kinda nervous to drive a car thing that I've only had about 45 minutes of wheel time with up this riverbed. I'll also take a moment to side note that I do really like the Ford Maverick, but the visibility is not great, especially when trying to place my front tires where I want them. You sit so low in the car truck, and the hood is pretty broad, that I honestly had no clue where my wheels were, and I had to put all my faith in our expert spotter.
Really scary, but the best tech.
As you feel it dip, just stay in the same amount of throttle, don't let off.
Well, he's an expert for a reason, because it only took a couple runs at the bank and trusting his direction for the Maverick to pull itself right out with a little three-wheel flare at the end. At the bottom of the trail, we were instructed to take it on the freeway so we could test the road comfort, then head back to our staging area for dinner before we all depart. So what did I think of the tires on my first impression? Well, here's the things I liked. They performed very well on the terrain we were given to test them on, but I'd love to try them in other conditions as well. I really like the idea of having two different sidewall designs for aesthetic options, and the tread did do a good job at protecting the sidewalls like they should. The 60K tread wear warranty is very respectable, and I just like that there's another option specifically for the crossover all-wheel drive market, because slapping some heavy light truck tires on a Subaru is definitely less than ideal. There's two things I'd see room for improvement on, but one comes with a little asterisk. The first thing is I'd really like to see this tire offered for a 16-inch wheel. Currently the smallest wheel size offered is a 17. which I understand is about the minimum for most modern SUVs, or even cars for that matter, but a 16-inch would open up a huge market for older vehicles or for people who just prefer to have more sidewall. Nitto did say they have more sizes coming in the future, but I'd love to see a 16-inch among those new sizes. And the critique that comes with a little asterisk is the road noise. Because this was my first time driving the Ford Maverick and I've never driven one on standard tires to have a good comparison. However, I did notice some tire noise, particularly at lower speeds like below 40 miles an hour, and even more so under braking.
That right there.
Now, it wasn't enough to annoy me and certainly wouldn't put me off from buying a set, but it's worth mentioning, especially since it was a specific part of the test we were asked to take a look at. So what do you think of the new Nomad Grappler? I think it's a great looking tire, and I'm sure it will hold its own in a lineup against other popular all-terrains, and I'd have no problem putting them on my vehicle. That is, if my vehicle had 17-inch wheels. If you like to follow along with the rest of our adventures, make sure to subscribe, and to make sure you don't miss out on any other videos, click the notification bell as well.